Members, it's the appointed time and we have a quorum. I call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. The meeting is scheduled to end at 5:30 p.m. today. If necessary, I will extend the meeting by 15 minutes. If I may remind members, if you have any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to items of discussion today, please act in accordance with Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure. Disclose the nature of the interest before you speak. I'd also like to draw members' attention to Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure about voting in case of direct pecuniary interest. Item 1, FCR bracket 2026-2715. This item invites FC to pass the recommendations put by PWSC at the meeting on the 20th of May 2026 to upgrade 89 TY to Category A as an estimated cost of $349.2 million in money of the day prices for the construction of a public transport interchange near Town Kwai, Tsuen, Yuen. According to paragraph 3A of the Finance Committee procedure, as the PWSC does not recommend the FC further discussing the paper and there is no request jointly made by no less than 3 members asking the FC to further discuss it, as a result, FC is not going to further discuss this paper in accordance with the recommendations made by the PWSC. Now, I put FCR 2026-2715 to a vote. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the members who voted were in favor of the proposal. I declare the proposal passed. Item 2, FCR bracket 2026-2716. This item invites members to pass the recommendations of the PWSC at the meeting on 20th of May 2026 on PWSC 2026-27-3 to upgrade 447DS to Category A at an estimated cost of $348 million in money of the day prices for the rehabilitation and construction of sewage rising mains package to Kowloon and Southern District. Same with the item just now. According to the recommendations of the PWSC, FC is not going to further discuss the paper. I now put FCR 2026-2716 to a vote. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the majority of the members who voted are in favor of the proposal. I declare the proposal passed. Item 3, FCR bracket 2026-17. This item invites members to approve the creation of a new commitment of $97.63 million for the upgrade of the computer assistant palm print and fingerprint identification system and the evidence management system of the Hong Kong Police Force. The Security Bureau on the 27th of March consulted the panel on security about the proposal. Members who would like to put questions, please press the request to speak button. If I may remind members, after the Q&A session ends, I will immediately put the paper to a vote. Please be mindful of the progress of the meeting. Return to the conference room to participate in the vote in time. To answer members' questions, we have the following government officials here. We have Mr. Michael Chuck, Undersecretary for Security, and Ms. Vincy Chan, Principal Assistant Secretary for Security. Ms. Yolanda Yu, Chief Superintendent of Police, Mr. Leonard Lam, Chief Systems Manager, and Mr. Michael Chan, Superintendent of Police. Now, I ask Mr. Xiu Ka-fai, Chairman of the Panel on Security, to report on the discussion of the panel. Thank you. This funding proposal was discussed on the 27th of March 2026 meeting of the Panel on Security. Members noted that the computer-assisted palm print and fingerprint identification system, CAFIS, and the evidence management system, EMS, had been in operation for over 18 years, with supply of spare parts in the market gradually decreasing, and that the relevant vendor would discontinue its system maintenance service after the expiry of the current maintenance contract in July 2028. Members supported upgrading the 2 systems to ensure the efficiency of the police force's forensic services. Members supported conducting the relevant procurement exercise through restricted tendering on national security considerations, subject to the compliance with the stores and procurement regulations. Members inquired about the data security measures in respect of the systems after the upgrade, in particular, the mechanism to guard against fake fingerprints and arrangement for data access rights. They were also concerned about the division of work between the maintenance service providers and the contract staff. The administration responded to members' concerns and views. The panel had no objection to the submission of the funding proposal to the Finance Committee for consideration. That's all for my report. But I support the proposal, so I will not press the button to ask question. Thank you. 13 members have pressed the button to speak. I'll read out the names. Mr. Holden Chow, Mr. Stephen Ho, Mr. Lam Chen Sing, Mr. Chan Xiu Hong, Mr. Chris Ip, Mr. Lerman Kwong, Mr. Johnny Ng, Mr. Rock Chan, Mr. Chulat Wai, Mr. Chen Wen Kwon, Mr. Jonathan Lampert, Ms. Nixie Lam, and Mr. Alan Chan. 13 members have pressed the button. Each member will have 4 minutes. Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chairman. I understand that the two systems have been in operation for quite a number of years. According to the paper, we have a decreasing supply of spare parts in the market. We need to upgrade the systems to make sure that they can operate efficiently. I support the proposal. As mentioned in the paper, these two systems are important. In the process of tendering, we need to have regards to national security considerations. We need to adopt a restricted tendering approach. There may be difficulties, however. As there is a gradual decrease of supply of spare parts on the market, we have no way but to try our best to maintain the systems. However, do we have a backup plan? We all know that there is always emergency that may happen. What happens when there is no spare parts to maintain the relevant systems in the future? Do we have any alternative backup plan to cope with any emergency? Undersecretary, thank you for the question. The existing two systems have been in operation for 18 years. Now, in terms of maintenance, service, hardware, software, we are having difficulties. And the maintenance service contractors say that they will not renew their contracts with us. For the new systems, we are going to procure new spare parts, new hardware, software. We are conducting tender in a restricted approach due to national security and supply chain considerations. We're confident that the new systems can be in operation for at least 10 years, maybe up to 20 years. After conducting the tender exercise, we understand that we can enhance the systems by introducing artificial intelligence. So in terms of cash flow, you may notice that after implementation of the systems, we are going to continue to incur expenditure. Thank you. I fully understand that we need to adopt a restricted tendering approach because of national security considerations. However, Do you have any contingency plans in case there is gradual decrease of spare parts for the new systems in the future? Undersecretary. Thank you. All hardware, software, and systems have a expected service of life, but for the new systems, we expect that we can operate it for at least 10 years. The expected service life of the existing system was only 10 years, but we've used it for over 18 years. But in the paper, we set the expected service life at 12 years. That's a conservative approach. In the future, if we see a gradual decrease in the spare parts for the new systems, we may upgrade it further to a new system. Mr. Stephen Ho, thank you. I support the upgrading of the two systems, but I have questions regarding some figures. According to paragraph 26 of the paper, it is said that the government is going to spend money on hardware, software, system maintenance, contract staff, and consumables. In 2028-29, hardware, software maintenance, it cost about $767,000 to $3.3 million in 2033 to 34. For system maintenance, it went from $4.9 million in 2028 to $7.2 million in 2033. For item C, contract staff, it cost $1.2 million every year. So do you expect not to give pay raise to staff for 4 to 5 years? I'd like to know more about the reasoning behind your figures. Undersecretary. Thank you. Regarding the cash flow for each financial year, this system in 2028-29 Q4 will be upgraded. After that, we'll start using the systems, and then we will enhance them. As a result, you'll see that there's an increase in expenditure for years after 28-29. The reason why there is no increase in the cost of contract staff is because when the systems are in operation, the maintenance demand is rather stable. That's why the contract staff expenditure remain unchanged. I understand that now. As you're including more functions, gradually the system maintenance cost will go up. But it seems that from 2031 to 2033, we see an increase of $2 million. I think that you need to explain to us about the progress of your system maintenance. You have to explain that maybe in 2031 you include many more functions. That's why the cost of system maintenance shot up. Please refer to paragraph 35 of the paper and our annex. In terms of expenditure, in 2027-28 is the handover of the systems. In 28-29, we're going to pay for the balance on the system upgrade. And starting from 2029-30, we're going to introduce AI algorithm. That's why in 2030-31, the expenditure of hardware was $7 million, and then it gradually decreased. That means at the outset of development, we need to spend more on hardware, and the cost gradually decrease. Mr. Lam Chun-sing, thank you. We're going to spend some $90 million on the systems, and 2027, the system will be implemented. But for the system to be in full operation, we'll have to wait until 2033-34. The cash flow well, cash outflow is heavy in the first few years, and over the course of operation, we have to spend some tens of $millions every year. You have given us some justifications for the upgrading of the systems. You said that you are going to introduce multi-angle automatic functions and improved interface. I wonder if the police will be able to make use of the new functions in 2033, or can they make use of the new functions in 2027? You also said that you will introduce artificial intelligence. Can we complete the introduction of AI in the systems by 2033? According to paragraph 23 of the paper, it is said that you are going to spend $800,000 on security risk assessment and audit, private impact assessment. Technology develops in leaps and bounds, but criminals' tactics also evolve rapidly. Is there any safeguard against hackers or fake fingerprints? You're spending $800,000 on risk assessment, audit, private impact assessment. Is that enough? Thank you.
Secretary, there are two questions there. First, whether we can use the entire functions within 8 years. Second, the security in terms of data. First, let me briefly take members through the system. There are two parts to the system. The comparison of the latent marks. The second part is the arrange for the evidence link to be presented in court. That's the EMS, Evidence Management System. There are two aspects there. I mentioned two things. First, upgrade the system, and then enhancement. Now, for upgrading, this will happen in Q4 next year. Now, what we're going to be upgrading, now for latent mark, there are three improvements: multi-angle automatic comparison, automatic image enhancement, and also new matching algorithm to enhance accuracy. Now, for the EMS, there are three parts. It will be having better interface. Second, there will be automatic generation of images. And third, the security. In the system, all the latent marks, who will get access into it, at what rank, at what time. Say, for instance, if the latent marks have to be submitted to the laboratory for further processing, then it will allow access to the laboratory to the exclusion of anybody else. So that would enhance the security of the data. All these will be ready in Q4 next year. As to the enhancement, we will spend the next 5 years. Now, for the latent mark comparison, after opening the tender price came in lower, and there are some new technical concepts embedded, and that is the introduction of some AI algorithm. And that would speed up the latent mark comparison. And also, why is it the vendor would like to spread it over for 5 years? Now, mainly because the AI will have to be trained. And we have the forensic latent mark experts training up the AV, so the vendor is willing to cooperate with us. And 72 to 75% would be dispersed in the at the very beginning, and the remaining will be paid up subsequently. This represents a pretty good arrangement. Members can rest assured that the IP, the intellectual property, is part of us. So this customization is a part of us. We are prepared to share with the law enforcement agencies. And without our consent, there will not be any other or access to any other parties. Mr. Chen Shuhong. Chairman, thank you. the police need to enhance the CAPFIS and the evidence management system, and we need to maintain the continuity of this system. The systems have been around for 18 years, and the maintenance contract will come to an end in July 2026. So I am in support of this proposal. My concern, however, is paragraph 15, 16, 17, and 35. Now, if read together, now there are a number of things I'd like to confirm. First, May 2026, the tender has been vetted. As the Undersecretary said a moment ago, this has included the design and development and rolling out of the system. And an important element has been added, i.e. there is room for adding high-end advanced algorithm and computing. So there is an adjustment to the recurrent expenditure. I heard from the Undersecretary in answer to the previous questions about why we have to spend the next 5 to 6 years to optimize the system. Now, the vendor will have to wait for some time before they collect the entire sum. I am concerned about the sum spent on the hardware and software. When the two systems are designed and developed in 2027, 28, or 28, 29, they will be up and running, and this will replace a system that has been around for 18 years, and that would resolve the maintenance problem. In 2029-30, we're going to be spending certain sum of money on the hardware to enhance the advanced computing system and the AI functionality. In the last 5 years, for the hardware, the expenditure would be double than the previous 2 years. For software, it would be 40% more, and for the development cost, it would be 30%. So from 2029 onwards, when the two systems are up and running, the vendor will be training the system, and the hardware will be procured progressively. That you need to train up the system, and this is basically software based. Why is it in 2029-30 the $1.82 million will be spent, and for the 5 years the total expenditure will be double that of the previous years? So that's where I'd like to find out more. With the tender in, you should be in a position to tell what functionalities, what KPIs would there be in the next 5 years. Now, it's good to have AI. I'm sure presumably in the tender document it will be expressly spelled out what effects that they will be able to achieve. Undersecretary. Thanks very much for the question. 27, 28, Q4, we will take delivery, and the enhancement cost will be paid in 2029-30, and up 29-30 onwards. So we will be further enhancing the system. That would involve the computing power and algorithm. So while we use the algorithm and computing power, we need to procure a certain hardware. And why don't we procure that now? Now, that's because over the past couple of months, the semiconductor, the chips, they have been rising in prices by a big percentage. So to spend the money wisely, I think we have to cope with the existing system first. So we decided that 75% of the sum would be spent for the first 3 years, so the system would be up and running for us to deal with our work comfortably. And for the enhancement, that will be covered in the subsequent 5 years. Now, AI will be developing by leaps and bounds, And with the AI training, it might cost us a little bit less. And over the past couple of months, the cost of hardware has been rising really exponentially. As to the two periods. Now, for the first period, if you look at the cash flow, 72% for the first 3 years. For the subsequent period, 28%. Hardware, it would be 1 to 3 in terms of ratio. That's a reasonable arrangement. Mr. Quisip, Chairman, thank you. I support this proposal. However, I've got a couple of questions for the administration. First, para 16. If you look at the paper submitted in March, the recurrent expenditure and the non-recurrent expenditure will see some reduction. That's all for the good. But for the non-recurrent expenditure, we're talking about a drop of 4.6%, recurrent 24% drop. Why is it the case? Where does the saving lie? Second, Undersecretary said earlier that the maintenance contractor will have to be rehired in the upgrading and enhancement process. Are you concerned about any potential problems? And with the old and new system, how long will the overlapping period be when the two will be running in parallel? Third, I'm concerned about the cost effectiveness. I'm sure the new system would be a lot better than the existing system. Would you specifically tell us how much more powerful the new system is going to be and how much faster is it going to be? Now, this is a professional system, but I hope that you will let the members of the public know about how powerful it's going to be. Undersecretary, 3 questions. The first one is about the financial arrangement. Why is it cheaper? Now, when we went to the panel, we would gather information from the market, gather information. At that time, we have not spat out in sufficient detail about the tender, and they may play safe and budget a larger sum than needed. So when the tender came in, there is a reduction of 28%. Now for the maintenance and repair, 14% cheaper, and therefore we can come up with this price tag. This is really typical. Definitely, the tender price would not be the same as the previously quoted. When there is competition, they would be more specific about the price tag. So we've decided on the restricted tendering, and that was standard disclosed. Second, about the existing and the new system and the interface. The existing system is stable, although we need to have the maintenance. During the interface, the police would adopt zero risk approach. The two systems will be running in parallel for some time before we would discontinue with the existing system. Members can rest assured that we would not take this lightly. Now, with the new system, how helpful would it be? Let me tell members about the workload now and explain how helpful the system will be. On a daily basis, the latent marks, we have to authenticate the identity of the suspects or the bodies. Second, we'll have to present the criminal record to the court in criminal proceedings. And third, we also provide public services like the application for certificate of no criminal conviction or sexual conviction record or adoption and so on. All these would require the information. Now we are dealing with 300,000 latent marks on a daily And on a daily basis, the no criminal conviction, we deal with 250, and we have to present them to court 8 o'clock. And for these no criminal conviction, 300. We have 968,000 records in the sexual conviction record. Now, for the court proceedings, the new EMS system would be able to generate some documentation. At the moment, we're dealing with them manually. That's and it would help a lot. Second, comparison of the latent marks. I mentioned the multi-angle automatic comparison. It's not like the mobile phones. You have to rotate your fingers for identification. But the latent marks would be really fragmented. And at the moment, we have to rotate manually. Now, you may need to rotate 8 times for 45 degrees or 20 times for more angles. Now, with this system, it would be far faster, and it is automatic. We did conduct an unscientific projection for complicated latent marks that would save as much as half the time. Now, for certificate of no criminal conviction, where we need a fingerprint, it would not be any faster because this is not complicated. So we're dealing with very complicated latent marks on the crime scene, and that would help a lot, and that would help with crime detection as well. So in the paper, we mentioned that there are some savings achieved. How do we arrive at the figures? We look at the complicated latent marks we deal with and work out the savings, and we can save now $300,000 would be the salary, and we have 4 billion work hours, and that would work out to be $300,000. And we cannot redeploy these people to other work, and this is only a financial calculation.
Thank you, Undersecretary, for the detailed reply. But it seems that we spent about 7 minutes on each question. Next, Mr. Lemon Kwong. Thank you. I support the funding proposal to upgrade the 2 systems of the police force. Am I coming through? I'll repeat. My apologies. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to reiterate that I support the funding proposal to upgrade the 2 systems to maintain highly efficient criminal investigation, and public service. I have a few questions for the police. First, it is said that because the old systems are aging and we don't have enough spare parts on the market, it's difficult for us to maintain them. Now, in terms of the new systems, will we design it in such a way that there will be enough spare parts on the market? Are we going to learn from the housing department to develop a microsystems like the IM Smart so that we can replace just some parts of the system instead of just replacing the entire systems? Because the administration said that after the systems have been in operation for some years, there may not be enough spare parts and we have to replace the entire system. Second, I'd like to ask about paragraphs 15 to 17 about the non-recurrent expenditure. It said that because of the development of artificial intelligence, some adjustments need to be made. We have to upgrade and include new systems and new functions in the systems. In the 8-year table, in paragraph 17, are we going to improve the algorithm and introduce artificial intelligence across the 8-year period? Because I'm worried that in the 8 years' time, there will be new technology and going to waste our money. Undersecretary, thank you. We're going to use a virtual server instead of having two separate systems with two separate servers. The benefit of having a virtual server is that we can allocate server resources as appropriate. In the first 3-year and the 8-year period, the systems will be made ready for use. For the second half, we're going to enhance the system. That's because we don't want the new functions we include to be outdated. That's why we spent 5 years to upgrade and enhance the systems. Mr. Johnny Ng, thank you. The systems have been in operation for 18 years. I support the upgrading of them. I'd like to ask about paragraph 15. In the second 5-year period, the administration is going to enhance the relevant functions. I'd like to know, apart from artificial intelligence, what kind of new technology are you going to include? In the coming 5 years, we're going to spend some $20 million. We need to use computing power to upgrade the model. How do we make estimates for that? If we don't have enough money for the upgrade, is the government going to come to us for more to upgrade the model? Thank you. Undersecretary. Thank you. On the financial arrangement, including enhancement, the resources allocated to hardware account for 23.8%. Apart from introducing artificial intelligence in the workflows, we're going to keep in view the latest development on the market on, for example, algorithms and computing power. First, we don't plan to apply for further funding from the government for the systems. In the coming 3 years, we're going to have systems available, but in the next 5 years, we're going to make enhancement. Mr. Rock Chen, thank you. I have questions regarding manpower. According to paragraph 17, it is said that from 2028 to 2034, we're going to spend some $1.4 million every year, and starting from 2028, we're going to spend $1.2 million for IT staff for regular maintenance. What is the division of duties among these two teams of staff? Second, according to paragraph 33, it is said that we can save about $352,000 on manpower. I think that's minimal. An annual salary of a junior staff is about $350,000. So is there any way for us to compress manpower to save on some expenditure? Thank you. Regarding the contract staff mentioned in 17 and the contract staff mentioned in paragraph 26, these two are two different teams of staff. The contract staff mentioned in paragraph 17 is non-recurrent expenditure. For paragraph 26, the manpower mentioned is civil servants. The reason why we separate them into two different groups is because of the relevant rules within the government. About the annual notional savings, this is just an estimate. Maybe I was too conservative in our estimation. Is the salary estimates we use that of our latent mud expert? Is not the case. We just use the median salary of our people to make the estimation. Mr. Chilatwai, thank you. I support the upgrading of the systems because they've been used and in operation for some 18 years. It's hard for us to maintain it or them any further. I have some questions. Regarding non-recurrent expenditure, we're going to spend more in the first few years and less in the last few years. The government said that they will build the system first and then make enhancement later. If we are to add hardware in the later stage of the project, will the parts become more expensive? And if the new hardware to be procured in the future is more expensive, are you going to ask for additional funding? For recurrent expenditure, if you make a wrong estimation on the cost of the hardware, are going to also ask for additional funding. Well, according to paragraph 17, it is said that you're going to spend some $300,000 on training services. So are you going to conduct the training during the interfacing of the two systems? Do you need to offer new training for new staff? Undersecretary. We already have a comprehensive set of system that can be used for some 12 years. For the 4th to 8th year, in the table, we want to introduce AI algorithm. And that's why we need hardware for that. You ask what happens if we don't have enough money to fund the hardware. I think that we have the responsibility to adhere to fiscal discipline. If we don't have enough money, then we may not be able to procure the top products. What we're using are the most advanced system. Second, regarding the training, after the first round of training, the staff that have been trained will become trainers themselves. Mr. Chen Wing-Kwong, thank you. I support the funding proposal. According to paragraph 20 to 21, it is said that the government has set aside some $39 million to hire system development services and information technology staff for project management, planning, and monitoring. In Kowloon East clusters of HA, there is a data leakage by contractors that leaked the patient data of, some 56,000 people. The information was uploaded to a third-party platform. CAPFITs and EMS store latent marks and sensitive information of the people. If there is any data leakage, there will be dire consequences. I wonder how the government select the relevant IT staff and contractors to make sure that the data is safe. How long are we going to use the service, and when do we need to further upgrade the new systems in the future? Undersecretary, thank you. Regarding information security, the police force attach a lot of importance to that. We offer access grant to contract staff according to their needs at work, and they have to comply with our compliance requirements. Second, as to how long we can use the systems for, well, after upgrading the systems, they will meet the needs of our daily works, and the new systems can be used for at least 12 years. And we will enhance the system starting from the 4th year in the project, and we want to continue to improve the system so that it can be used for as long as possible. Next, Mr. Jonathan Lampert. Thank you. I support the funding proposal. CAFITs is very important for maintaining security in the community, and I thank the Security Bureau for lowering the estimates for the project. I have two questions. Paragraph 35 said that the systems is expected to complete in the fourth quarter of 2027, and the enhancement of the system is expected to be completed in the fourth quarter of 2033. Artificial intelligence develops very rapidly. How will the government make sure that $90 million is enough, such that by 2033 the algorithm, the hardware will not be outdated? According to paragraph 26, it is said that starting from 2033-34, the recurrent expenditure will increase to $11.9 million per annum. For system maintenance, we're going to spend some $7 million per year. How come there is such a significant increase in terms of system maintenance after the system is enhanced?
Under Secretary, in Q4, the system will be up and running, and in 28-29, the remaining sum will be paid off for the first phase, and that would be enough for the functionality. And by year 4 to year 8, we will be enhancing the AI system. Now we spread this out for such a period because AI is leaping ahead by leaps and bounds, and this is a deliberate, conscious move. We're not trying to slow it down because we need to pay attention to the development of technology. And for 2033, the expenditure will be higher, and we will be increasing the functionality. And in the enhancement system, there will be computational power and AI to be added. And AI, the hardware will be higher in number. So after enhancement, maybe we need 1 + 1 in terms of hardware. So the recurrent expenditure would be increasing. That explains why that is the case. Ms. Nixie Lam. Right. Chairman, thank you. I support the funding proposal. I'm pleased to see some reduction in the funding applied in March at the security panel. It was 128 million. Now it is 97.6 million, and there is some reduction. I'm glad that the government has been trying to keep down the sum. Now, my question is about recurrent and non-recurrent expenditure, para 17 and 26. We have contract staff. The former is responsible for the management. The latter is responsible for the hiring of IT staff to do the repair and maintenance. Now, would there be any overlapping between the two sets of staff? How are you going to be differentiate the work? Would there be any area that can be taken up by one party? Why is it there are two sets of staff there? Under Secretary. Now, there are two different items. We have the recurrent and non-recurrent expenditures. That's on the basis of the financial discipline. The former contract staff, basically, they are civil servants. The non-civil servants, for the latter, they are part of the civil service establishment. How do you differentiate the work? Would they be working together? Under Secretary. Now, for the former, they deal with the contract management, preparing the tender, and will have to discuss with all the stakeholders. So that's the process of system development. For this latter part, the contract staff, they are the IT staff support, and they are the civil servants team providing user requirement to the other party. Mr. Alan Chen. Chairman, thank you. For the existing system, it started out in 2028. It's been around for 18 years. And if you discount inflation, the cost is actually similar to the previous system, so it is well worth supporting. My question is, now with the new system, AI will be introduced, and advanced algorithm will be enhanced. Will the administration tell us for these $97 billion, will the maintenance be included? Now, the algorithm is developing very rapidly. Now, you need to enhance the computing power. With this incur additional power. And for these $97 million, would this include the repair and maintenance? And what about additional expenditure? Would there be further application for funding from the Finance Committee? Under Secretary, well, indeed, this amount includes the development of AI. Second, after taking delivery, after the AI enhancement, what remains is the repair and maintenance that will be borne by ourselves. Mr. Hong Kam-in, Chairman, well, to do anything, we need to have the right tool. I support this proposal to upgrade the CAPFIS and EMS, because that would facilitate prosecution. Now, I am concerned about three areas. The first is the seamless interface between the existing and the new system. Second, the data, and also the technological development. Now, this has to do with privacy and national security. There are certain countries that develop problems because of the leakage of data by the staff members. How can we make sure that the staff, not least the contract staff, how can we make sure that the system is secure and there will not be any implications on national security and privacy? Under Secretary, now for the data security, now this is something that we are attaching a lot of importance to because the system contains evidence of criminal cases. Now for staff, whether it is contract staff or otherwise, there will be a vetting process, and depending on the ranks, we would grant the access right. Every individual would be granted different access rights. There would also be random checking. We would look at the audit trail to see who's done what. So on a regular or irregular basis, we would conduct these kind of checking. Members can rest assured. Professor Priscilla Leung. Chairman, thank you. Technology is developing by leaps and bounds. The same can be said about criminal activities. So the upgrading of the palm print and fingerprint system, I am really in support of that. Technology is moving very fast. In Beijing, we see the robotics. They do have the fingerprints. It's really amazing, the system. We are really astounded by that. We've seen some scams that do not involve the victims, and they can commit crimes in the system. So we don't have to pick the most advanced one, but we have to pick the most secure one. Now you are adopting this tendering system. Well, internally you may not have the high-tech personnel. Now, in terms of the use and monitoring the system, I know that you'll be training the system. I mean, it is self-learning. Now, once the system is kicked in, the system will be learning. There will be instructions fed in, and all along, the system is being used. Would this be a unique system even the suppliers will not be able to use the system. This is something I'd like to find out more. Now, you said that it would take 3 years for the machine to learn. I'm glad that the machine is learning. I mean, no two systems are the same. Second, with the system, if it crashes, if it is down, would you be able to restore it to the backup system for continued use? Fingerprint and palm print are very important. Would there be any robotics that can copy all the fingerprints and transfer them to a new system? Thank you. Undersecretary, if I may take the question in the reverse order. In terms of design, we do have a backup system where necessary, if there are problems with the existing system, there is a fallback. Typically, we do have this. Second, how we can train the AI model. Now, we are training them to identify the latent marks. And we have the latent marks experts training the system to identify which one is right, which one is not right. And we can use the system, and this is part of the intellectual property of the latent mark experts. We are training the system to be able to differentiate the latent marks. In Hong Kong, for latent marks to be presented to court, we don't rely on the computer, we rely on the experts. So the system is helping us to screen out or screen in the latent marks so that the experts will have less latent marks to make comparison. So we do have an agreement with the supplier. Without our consent, they cannot sell the system to a third party. Professor Leung, now once the system has learned it, you will not be selling this to the supplier because it involves so much privacy. It will not be sold to a third party. Well, it does involve any privacy when it comes to learning. Let's say I draw a capital A and with the right hand, and then I draw capital A with the left hand, and make comparison between the two, and the system will have to identify the features. We're not asking the system to check Michael-Churk's features. Now we have the experts, they have the expertise to make comparison. Now with this customized system, we do have the intellectual property. Without our permission, they cannot sell to any third party. There are 3 more members on the list. I'll draw a line under Professor Wong and then put the proposal to the vote. Will members please come back to the conference room quick. Mr. Chong Ho Fong. Paragraph 16. It says that recurrent expenditure from $15 billion to $12 billion per annum, 24.4% reduction. So that this is how much we save compared with the March quotation. Now with the new system and the existing system, can you tell us the comparative figure for the recurrent expenditure? I think the paper is silent on this figure, but from the enclosure, I can make some estimate. There is the recurrent expenditure, 28, 7 billion, and item 3, savings of recurrent expenditure, $7 odd million. Does it mean that we can work out the recurrent expenditure of the existing system, which is $7 billion, and then we add the recurrent expenditure for the future system? The existing system is actually $14 billion in recurrent expenditure. And in 2033, 2034, the recurrent expenditure would be rising from $7 billion to $11 billion, but the savings will remain unchanged at $7.2 million. The two systems are existing in parallel, and we can achieve saving of $7 billion for the existing system. Now, when for the new system, if the cost is rising, then the recurrent expenditure savings would be less and less. And in 2028 through 2033-34, it cannot be $7 billion. I'm not sure whether my understanding is correct or not.
Thank you. I'd like to ask members to refer to the enclosure of the paper. There's a table that set out the cost and benefit analysis and the savings. There are two parts to the savings. First, it's about the maintenance and repair of the existing system. Second, as I said, this new system will make our work more efficient, and we'll make the calculations based on the work hours that can be saved. Minusing that from the price above, we get the total savings. Regarding the recurrent expenditure of the new systems, that's higher than that of the old system by about 70%. For the old system, the recurrent expenditure is about $6.9 million. New system, $11 million. Mr. Chen Pok-ji, thank you. Regarding paragraph 7 and 12 of the paper, it is said that EMS will make the evidence chains submitted to the court more reliable, and we're going to enhance operation interface of the system. Now, the difficulties in prosecuting mistreatment of animals and other crime, the difficulties lies with the establishment of a comprehensive evidence chain. Without a comprehensive evidence chain, it's difficult for us to prosecute against criminals on the two crimes that I mentioned. I wonder if the new systems can make it easier for us to track the evidence on animal cases, and I wonder if the police have estimated how we can help the prosecution and better display the evidence chain on the court after upgrading the EMS. Undersecretary, I wonder if you can answer the question. Well, these are two very different concepts. The AMS in question today is about evidence chain on latent marks. Regarding evidence chain, that's responsible by the OC of the crime case. Evidence chain does not exist within EMS. What does EMS process? It processes latent marks collected from the evidence. I wonder if this answers the member's question. Well, I think that the question can be addressed on some other occasions. Professor William Wong, thank you. I'd like to ask about a transfer of data. With the new system, you need to transfer the data from the old one to the new one. How do you do that? You may not be able to transfer the data from the old to the new systems completely. Second, I'd like to ask about the table on paragraph 17. In item C, System Development Services, in 2026-27 to 2027-28, there is an increase of 5 times. But for contract staff, the cost and expenditure remain unchanged. When your system is enhanced, you perhaps need more people to manage it. How come the cost of contract staff remain unchanged? You said that you only conduct one training. How come you don't have to conduct multiple rounds of training when you keep enhancing the systems? F others, I wonder what that means. It cost some $400,000 in 2027-28 and another $400,000 in 2032-33. Please explain that. When we develop software, we sometimes set aside buffer. Many members talked about upgrading. Very often, we set aside 20% of the budget for upgrading. I wonder if you have taken that into account. Undersecretary, I know that you have answered some of the questions many times. Please be succinct. Thank you. For the first 3 years of the project, we're going to upgrade the existing systems. We want to develop a new system to replace the old one. After that, we're going to transfer the data from the old system to the new one, and we're going to seal the old data. Second, in the first 3 years, we're going to spend some 72% of our budget to upgrade the systems. For the remainder of the budget, we're going to develop AI. We have set aside about 25% for that. Regarding training, we have this concept of train the trainer. After colleagues have been trained, they will train other colleagues. Third, we are to conduct a security risk assessment and audit as well as profit impact assessment. Why do we do these two assessment 2 times? Well, we conduct the first time after the system have been upgraded, and we conduct the second time after introducing the AI functions. And that's how we control risk. Thank you. Mr. Chang Ho-feng would like to speak for the second round. Please. Just now, the Undersecretary said that the recurrent expenditure of the old system is about $6 million. I think that you need to include that in the funding proposal. I wonder if my understanding is correct. After enhancing the system, we have to spend some $12 million every year. So the recurrent expenditure of the new system is $7 million more expensive than the old system. And as we can save $7 million by having the new system, so we're not saving any money by having a new system. Given the expenditure remaining unchanged, we are having a better and more efficient system. I fully support that. Undersecretary, any response? I note your suggestion. I'm going to include the relevant figure in the paper, but we've already actually set that out in the enclosure. Professor William for the second round. With the new system, you may not be able to read all the data in the old system. Does that mean that the old system will exist forever? You'll retrieve the data when necessary. We'll only keep the old data. The old system will not be maintained, so we cannot use it. But as you only took photos of the latent mark, you may not be able to retrieve that with the new system. Well, we're already using a digitalized latent mark system. That's the end of the Q&A session. Thank you very much. And I'll put FCR 2026-2717 to a vote. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the majority of the members who voted are in favor of the proposal. I declare the proposal passed. The next meeting of the FC will be held on the 26th of June. Meeting adjourned.